It is almost time. Bleach Soul Resonance is almost here. You probably know of this game from a few years ago. It was called Project Blade, etc. They did this pretty cool promotion, and there was this previous beta test and all that stuff. We weren't even able to talk about it. It was actually alpha, and there was a lot of controversy that happened late 2023, and more things as well in between. But we are finally about to approach the release of the game. I believe it comes out next month, so there's quite a lot to talk about. We're going to recap that controversy, some things to be concerned about the global release of this game and who's publishing it. We got to talk about that inevitably, and what the plan may be for a lot of players as a result, and more in today's video. So if you are new here, we are going to cover this a ton. Make sure you do subscribe, and I'll keep you guys informed on Bleach Soul Resonance as information comes out and as the game officially comes out as well. 80% of viewers are missing out by not being subscribed to the channel, so make sure that is not you going forward. Let's go ahead and dive into it. So firstly, I really want to say shout out to Giku for this awesome Bleach Soul Resonance news page. Make sure you do follow it over on Twitter. If you want to stay in touch with me as well, you can follow me at DFreeDBZ, linked down below in the description as well. Other than that though, there is also a new official website for the game, Wield the Blade of Your Soul, the official Bleach next gen action RPG. This is the official website for the game that you guys can check out as well, and it features a lot of the character unit types and descriptors here for the characters from the series, of course, in their database, as well as some awesome renders for these characters. They look amazing. It looks really, really good, frankly. I really enjoy this. I think they did a great job with this overall. You got various forms of Ichigo, the initial, Shikai, Bankai, all that stuff, and a little bit of gameplay features as well to explain how this looks. So really quick, there was a beta test. In fact, there will be another beta test that starts tomorrow, and I'll talk about that a little bit as well. But if you want to see gameplay for this game, you can search it up pretty easily and readily online, because we weren't able to upload the alpha footage, but we were able to record and all that stuff for the beta footage that came out a couple years later. The game changed a ton in between then. You know, frankly, I played the alpha and I was so unimpressed. I couldn't keep playing. I just was like, this is not going to do anything. So thankfully they took it back in the oven and really got it working again. So that's pretty great. Now, moving on to it, the game is available now on your app stores. It should be in pretty much every region for pre-registration. It is confirmed, coming out globally, all that stuff. There was a lot of controversy, as we'll talk about, surrounding whether or not this would even come out overall across the board. Like, it was pretty crazy, but you should be able to pre-register it now for Bleach Soul Resonance. Now, the publisher may show different things. Like, it may show Nuverse, it may show A+ Japan, it may show Crunchyroll, which we'll talk about as well. But ultimately, the game is now available for pre-registration. And there is a beta that is starting later today. And in order to participate in the beta, initially it was thought that you needed to fill out this form and they would send you access to it, which is something that had been floating around for the last couple of weeks. I myself completed that, but you probably just now hearing about this probably did not do so. But the game is officially available to download as a closed beta test client in other regions like Thailand, etc. So what you can do if you're on Android is create a new Play Store account, or I guess you could technically change yours, but I think you would need to have a VPN on regardless for Thailand or a different region like that, and you could just download it naturally. The closed beta test will be on the store. It is listed as Bleach Soul Resonance CBT. You can download it. It does have full English language. It has a global server in there and everything that you can participate on when that officially comes out and begins later today as well for the closed beta test as well. So anyway, if you're on iOS, similar process, just change your store region to a different region. So I had the Gemini here actually recap some of the controversy around this game in case you were not so familiar with it. Now, this was first revealed 4 years ago, I believe. So something about 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago. But anyway, back to early to mid 2022, the controversy was as follows. Initially, the game was announced, or there it is. Okay, early to mid 2022. The game was actually announced. The game was also sometimes referred to as Project Blade and was actively promoted. The dev of the game, it was initially the original publisher and stuff. The dev was unknown. It was later identified as ByteDance. You guys may know ByteDance from other companies or from other games that they publish, like, or not games, excuse me, apps that they publish, like, I don't know, TikTok. so, so yeah, initially published by them. The global publisher would have been Nuverse as well, a gaming brand under ByteDance. So moving on for late 2023. So we're talking literally a year and a half later. This is where a lot of the controversy starts. Major controversy and uncertainty. ByteDance announced that it was significantly restructuring and winding down its Nuverse gaming division globally. This led to widespread belief that Bleach Soul Resonance, along with other unreleased and live Nuverse games, would be canceled, delayed indefinitely, or its rights were being sold off. Again, the original publisher was still with it, Nuverse, ByteDance, but that's winding down. And from late 2023 to early 2025, this game was in limbo. Yes, there was not really anything going on. We had really no news about it. We didn't have any information. And it was something that we had got to test, like I said earlier, in that initial period where it was still called Project Blade before an official title came out and stuff. It was literally in limbo. We didn't have any information, but during the period, news was very scarce, but community managers on platforms like Discord occasionally confirmed the game was still in development and that the rights were being sought by a new publisher. This is the period where the controversy and confusion about the game's future really peaked, right? Rights were in a state of transfer/sale from ByteDance's Nuverse division. And we found out just now that literally today, new publishers were confirmed, right? Crunchyroll and A+ Japan officially announced they are partnering to publish the game globally outside of Asia, confirming the game is not canceled and is ready for its global release. Crunchyroll is the global publishers of the game alongside A+ Japan. Developers remain as the same original team, likely now operating independently or as part of a new publishing structure. So, I had to kind of specify here what to expect from these companies, but I'm going to be completely honest with you. In short, the period of uncertainty caused by the loss of the original publisher is over and the game is now under new management of companies. It didn't really come back with what I thought it would come back with, which is more nuanced discussion. I guess I shouldn't have put that in the hands of an AI. It's understandable. Crunchyroll's involvement often means robust marketing within the anime community and potential future collaborations with their own licensed titles. Their publishing history with games like Street Fighter Duel and Mythic Heroes shows they are active in the mobile gacha space. The game mechanics, the announcement mentioned a favorite character guaranteed every aided draw system. This is a form of pity system which is standard for gacha games and is an attempt to reassure players about the game's monetization model. The game also features high fidelity with awesome cutscenes as well, is basically what it's saying, honoring the source material. So where fans kind of get off the wagon when they hear A+ or they hear Crunchyroll is because those two, specifically Crunchyroll, are very, very, very notorious for poorly managing games. And Crunchyroll is never truly like in this situation, there's a reply here that says, you just so everyone knows, Crunchyroll didn't make this game. They're just literally the people that are porting it over to the West. But that's always what they do, right? They always take the game and they publish it. That is what they do. That's how they manage this, and that's fine. Companies have their own way of handling things, but Crunchyroll's always been a tough one to have develop your games because basically what they do is they come out, they put the game out, they milk it dry, and then close it. Long story short, that's what they do. And they'll even have situations like My Hero, The Strongest Hero, My Hero Academia, The Strongest Hero, I believe it was called, where that game literally, I believe, got banned in China, or just, I think My Hero in general got banned in China, something like that. I've got to go back and confirm it. But My Hero gets banned and the game gets shut down. But here we have Crunchyroll still milking the game, no real updates, it's just still up in limbo, and it's still on the store, still accepting purchases, and they're just letting it go, you know? And this is something that they do consistently. In fact, I don't know if One Punch Man World has gotten an update in the last year. I don't know why that game is still on the market. I played that game a good bit. I was really excited about it. It was pretty fun. It was a cool idea. But I don't know if it's been updated. I always get notifications about it doing reruns of current banners and also other stuff like that. But that's the standard Crunchyroll thing. And then ultimately games wind up getting shut down as a result. They just don't manage games well. Another thing that they do is when this happens, here's the deal. And maybe this is less likely to happen because this is a game that's releasing at the same time. November, I think 21st, worldwide. If that wasn't clear, it's releasing in November. I'm sorry. It's releasing worldwide at the same time. So there's no like lag period. But what winds up happening a lot of times with games like this, certainly by Crunchyroll, they have a bad history of this, is this is not an uncommon practice across the board for like global markets. You've probably even played Dokkan and seen the differences, and sometimes they change the banner a little bit. Sometimes they'll have different sales or just like different things like that. That is something you can expect to happen a good bit on the Crunchyroll versions of these games. I'm not trying to fearmonger. I'm not trying to rage bait or anything like that. Just being completely open and transparent and honest with you about how this could be. You may see some of those stupid packs that are like 1,000% value, right? Like little things like that they try to really, I don't know, be predatory with. And these games are already predatory by nature, but there's, I think, a line that most devs don't truly cross, or publishers don't try to truly cross. Now, the only thing you can really hope for is that the actual devs of this game are keeping Crunchyroll in line and saying, hey, we don't want these things in the game's global version. We don't want this market to completely turn on this, etc., right? Just because they publish anime doesn't mean that they're good at publishing anime games, right? Like, I think that needs to be really stated, but they are really good at that. And then you will see things where there's just more monetization, more packs, more things like that, less good free-to-play stuff. And I want to really say that like on the beta, we're going to get 300 summons and all that stuff. I don't imagine that to be in the official release of the game, but there's going to be some really cool free-to-play stuff in the beta as well. And I would have to imagine that there's going to be some very modern gacha stuff in here. They talked about the 80 summon, guaranteed pity, all that stuff. But I'm just curious about how that'll be managed. So I think one thing that's going to be a strategy for a lot of people that follow this game is that they are going to cover the game. Sure, they may even play the global Crunchyroll A+ Japan, whatever version. But they will most likely keep the Chinese or SEA version on their device and play the game that way as well. Right? Certainly the SEA version, because it wouldn't be developed by them in certain regions, but it would still be in full English. So that's another thing too. Like I think you could do something like that and not really pay the price for that. I think where that would be kind of tricky is if you were trying to cross platform stuff. Like it just doesn't really work so much. Not cross platform, but cross server stuff like, friend requests, blah, blah, blah. I have to go back and confirm if this game even has all that stuff. I don't know if it does. I never really tried to fiddle with that in the other versions of the game I played. But anyway, I think a lot of people are going to try to do that as well, or just outright stick clear of this version. Now, I want to stress that it still remains to be seen how this is ultimately handled, but Crunchyroll is like literally one of the worst devs you can have for your games. Now, I could say there's a number of devs that or publishers, I should say, that are not great, that have bad reputations. Like, for example, Square Enix, not typically great. They typically close a lot of games, but then the rebuttal would be, well, they've had a handful of games that did great years, right? Crunchyroll, for that record, has had games that have done good as well. They don't really have the same backlog because they haven't been doing it for as long, but they have some games that have done some good time, and it looks like, at least from what I can see, Blue Protocol is doing fine. So that's another game that they recently got and they published and all that stuff after it flopped. So I want to make it very clear that we're premature on this. Right? Maybe they get it right this time. Hopefully they do. Anyway, that's everything you need to know about Bleach Soul Resonance, the upcoming game. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe. Like I said, make sure you do subscribe because we will keep you guys informed here on the channel as information comes out. I'll even be doing gameplay, so stay tuned for that.